Oh my dear God, it is so hot. So let's see. Let me connect to my web desktop and see if anybody can hear me. Okay, there's two people watching me. Can anybody hear me? Okay, there we go. So let me see if I can get my chat working on my phone. Okay, there it goes. Well, hello, Falafel. Is this all that there is? Oh, there is more. So, welcome to my hell. You won't be able to see on my webcam, but there's about 13, 14 burn holes there. There's burn holes there, and there, and there, and there. And look at this. The fuck is all that? So I let my dead wife's cousins move in with me because I needed help, paying the rent until I finished school and everything, and they needed a place to stay. So here we are. You know, look, look at my sink. It has been like that for months, no matter how much I did to try to clean it. Look, look at my pots and pans and stuff. This is a cast aluminum pan that I told them to keep clean because it'll get pits in it and it'll get stick everything. So there's hours I'll have to clean here before I can cook for the fourth. I think I might start cooking tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, they cleaned out a bunch of my cabinets too. I don't know what was all there, but there was a whole bunch of stuff there before. Same with underneath there, and all the spilled shit. That was them. You know, all the stuff I gotta clean. Oh, let's check out my oven. Look, do you guys' oven doors open like this? See, if I let go of my oven door, it slams to the bottom. Now, my speculation is somebody was standing on my oven door to get up to the cabinets up there because they're like only 4.5 feet tall or something. So springs on my oven are broke. That's going to cost me hundreds of dollars to fix. Yeah, my hinges on my refrigerator are a little bit messed up. And look at they clean me out of food. That's gonna be. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so they were in a habit of nodding out on the toilet. So see my toilet screws. This is the second set, and unfortunately, replacement screws for the toilet seat don't fit my toilet seat. So I have to replace the whole toilet seat. But we're not going to show the burn that they left in that. And that's my sink I got to pay for. Oh, look it, there's another one. But no, nobody knows how any of this happened. Look at it. This is my dead mother's cabinet, which is hardwood, by the way, not this pressed crap. And no, that's not a big bag of fun things. That's a sack of my. Because believe me, they couldn't afford that much. That's a sack of my baby powder that they all used up that they had in reserve or something. They let flies all in my house. Look at. All right, let me tell you. Bobina had long hair compared to mine. You see how they had long ass hair up on there? None of that's mine. Oh, look at all of my shampoo got used. And then I go to get in the shower today, and there's my power wash, my three. Oh, somebody watered it down. You know, A lot of this stuff that they did, I think, was petty, and a lot of it was insanity. Look at they used my dead mother's dishes as fucking ashtrays, and could they use just one, two? No, they just kept switching them. Look at this. All right, so the one was a cluck, right? Yes, you don't know what that means, but trust me. All right, so look at my rice cooker here. All right, see the all right. Oh, by the way, I'm not a streamer or a videographer, so you get what you get. So look at the big dent there, and then there's another big dent there, and you see how it's not still steady? That's because crazy lady took it apart or tried to take it apart and bent it, and broke off the. No, I think she just bent it. Anyway, there's my voodoo lilies. See the one baby one that's growing, and that's a baby one. It will be for another 4.5 years or so. Anyway, yeah, every bit of silverware used. And when I came in here and you wash stuff, it just get used again. I washed a whole bunch of plates and stuff the other day, and it got used again. They hide dirty stuff in my oven. They leave my door open. All right, and you see, my refrigerator is on an angle because I live in an old house, right? And it's not simple, you know. You don't leave your refrigerator open all day while you get stuff out. You don't leave your freezer open. You don't let it swing open because that'll bust the hinges. But then it'll be, oh, I don't know how that happened. And the worst part is they thought they could get away with playing me. All right, so not only did they take advantage of me, owing me money and stuff, but I am missing from right there a very rare rooster decanter, uh, bright green rooster decanter. They just decided they were going to help myself to it. All of my all of my milk crates, you know. Um, Somehow, I'm not going to go back over there, but somehow some of my golf clubs got taken out of my golf bag and were laying in there, and they're graphite shafts, all right, and they were laying lengthways across stuff. That's bad. That's bad. Um, and I know that wasn't ones that I left out from going to the driving range because I don't ever take a 4-iron to the driving range. I don't even know what the other one is. Um, so yeah, here we got the room they were in. All right. Oh, they stole my fucking fan, motherfucking bitches. That's my exhaust fan for my laundry room. All right, and they used to keep the exhaust fan right there, blowing in, keep the door open, and my air conditioner running all night long. Stuff like that. I gotta assume it's malicious and intentional. This closet was their closet, but I had left a bunch of suits and shit in here. Do y'all see any suits or sweaters, dress shirts? The holes in the screen right there were never there. All right. There's helping people out, and then there's getting taken advantage of. There's foolishness, and that's why I had to evict them because they owe me 2 grand just in rent. All right, and another 177 on the side. Not to mention all the damage they did. I forgot to show this one. Wait, I'm buffering. Why am I? I'm froze. There we go. Somehow that cabinet front got ripped off. Now they want to say it just fell off when the child that lived here touched it, but I know what happened. They stuffed it full of shit. All right, and closed it. And I was already mad because they stuffed this one so full of shit that it wouldn't open because something got put behind it. But man, I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff that isn't accounted for, and that and that. So found my missing thing, I kind of went off. You know, now I find the fans missing. You know, that's not cool. You know, you're gonna take advantage of somebody, then you're gonna steal from them. What happened? Uh-oh. There we go. Are we still here? Uh-oh. What happened? What happened? What happened? Come back, Streamlabs in the chat. And the worst part is they tried to play mind games, set you all down for a minute. And my neighbors told me that these people were saying some real crazy stuff. And I have no reason to doubt it because they're crazy. You know, uh, sorry for the dead air here. So, first, they tell me, oh, you can't evict us because you're not the owner. Um, they didn't want to hear that. They thought the eviction was fake the whole time. And they swear up and down that I'm the reason that they lost their case because I put a firewall on the router so they couldn't log into court using the same thing I was connecting to court for. That don't make sense. If I'd have blocked the router, yeah, all right, then like I didn't win or something. I don't know. I really don't know what they were thinking. Uh, you know, telling me I'm a liar this and a liar that, and I don't have to lie. You know what I'm saying? I I always tell the truth because if you lie, then you got to remember both stories, the truth and the lie. And I'm not that smart. Well, look, I'm down to one person. That must just be falafel. Well, oh, there's three again. So I'm learning how to use the streaming app for the first time. I usually don't talk, okay, but it upsets me that these people did me like this. This is the best. I had a 5 year smoke CO2 detector. That one of the bitches, the same cluck that tore up my rice cooker, tore up because of stuff like this. Like my poor phone. Stuff like that. You see the nice burn on my cutting board? My cutting board that they would soak in water. I don't know if y'all know about cutting boards, but they do not need water on them. I mean, you can wipe them down with water and dry them. That's fine, but you can't soak them in water. And that's not the only thing that was burnt up, because they would be in here fucking either doped out or something. And I honestly think they were on dope. Uh, or sleepwalking or something and messing shit up. You know, the one would put on the microwave, and as it would boil over so bad that it would go through the tray that spins around and get all underneath. And you know, girls have no respect for other people's shit. All right, that's one of the things about girls. They do not care. Almost every hinge in this house is fucked up. And see right there, my door. I gotta pay for that door. They don't gotta pay for that door, but they broke it all the same. You know. And then you're gonna call me a liar this and a liar that. Tell me I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. Maybe get an education. Maybe catch yourself a brain, and it won't end up with stuff like this. What? So now they're out. They got a few things left. They got to come get, but they now they got to bring my ship back, or they ain't getting it. I mean, it really, really is just that simple. They break my air conditioner. That vent there, they pulled the vent off the air conditioner. Why? You don't get more air out of it because the vent's off. And keep the window closed where you got my fan, and it'll get cool in here. You see, it's 75 in here. All right. Well, you can't see because it's too far away. It's 75 in here. It's 90 something outside, and that's heating this, or that's cooling this room and most of the kitchen. Ah, I just can't. I really can't. And y'all seen my community post where the one of them got arrested and carted away because she assaulted her daughter. Right? They fought like cats and dogs. The kid was bad. I don't like to call kids bad, but the kid was bad. All right, because the kid would see the mother and grandmother fighting like cats and dogs. You know, and then you got so you got the the little child thinking she could yell at her grandmother and disrespect her grandmother because she sees her mother do it. You know, I should have just left them homeless. And let them do whatever they wanted, and I'd have been much better off. They ate my food. All right, I usually don't mind somebody eating my food because I like to cook, and I like it when the people enjoy my cooking. But goddamn, I cooked 4 pounds of pork teriyaki. Just the pork was 4 pounds that I put in the pot. I put in another 3.5 pounds of vegetables. All right, y'all eat Chinese food before? You know how that works? You're supposed to put the sauce and the meats and the greens over top of rice, you know? No, in 3 days, they ate that 7 pounds of food. I had two plates. It was not a good time. The last 6 months have been terrible. And the worst part is my poor Frisbee been locked in the room because, the child was screaming one day and he attacked her. Frisbee! Oh, there he is. There's Frisbee. Frisbee, come say hi. Oh, he wants to investigate what all this stuff is. So everybody got some bonus Frisbee, more than anybody bargained for. And let's go out on my porch. They didn't do anything out on the porch except for finally clean it, most of it. This whole porch was covered in their shit. And that's another thing. I told them, I got limited room here. As you all see, there's not much room in the house. It's a small two-bedroom. And I told them I had limited room, and they brought a bunch of stuff anyway instead of putting anything in storage, so they stored it out on my porch, which prevented me getting to my different plants in time. So all of my voodoo lilies are behind schedule. Of course, them being behind schedule is an advantage because now I know that voodoo lilies can be grown out of season. So, I'm sure the whole three people here, which may be one of me in the other room, want to know about my gardening channel. So, one of the things that I'm going to cover on the gardening channel is the life cycle of the voodoo lily, which starts with a bulb that in, say, January starts to sprout into either the leaf set or the flower. But the flower doesn't, you have to grow it for 5 years before it's big enough for a flower. But it smells like death when the flowers. It doesn't smell until it flowers, but when it flowers, it's done. Uh, so I haven't tried to grow one all the way, and the one that I had was I killed it one year. I took it out too early, and it got cold and died. So sometimes sometimes you lose one. But the neat thing is the bulb evaporates underneath the plant, and then it grows a brand new, bigger bulb for the next season. Excuse me for drinking on the stream. I got you guys on Bluetooth. I know you can hear almost everything. Uh, so I'd like to do a time lapse of that actually happening, but I've got to get it set up and figure out a way to support the plant as it grows without any dirt. So it's going to be a little project. And I've got my accounting channel. I was going to cut the video this morning for the 3D printing costing sheet. However, I can't get my headset microphone to work on my computer because it's not like a USB or anything. So it's a whole complex thing. I don't know how I'm going to do the microphone situation, but I'll try to figure it out. Yeah, so that's going to be my two main channels. This is mostly because I wanted to rant about the girls. These two were actual girls. They weren't 500 and 600 pounds. So the way they walked across my floor, you could not tell they weren't. Hang on, Frisbee's lost in the kitchen for some reason. Let me see what he's into. Hey, what are you doing in here? Come in here. I'm afraid they've got things on the floor that he'll get into, like busted balloons and stuff. That's why he's still been locked into my room until I could make sure it's safe for him. Frisbee, hi, buddy. Hi, come here. Come here. What are you doing with that? That's not yours. That's a broom. He wants to remark everything because this is his home. And he did not like them people. Anytime they knocked on my door or anything, he would go into attack mode. What are you sniffing? So that's it for me today. I've got to start cleaning because I'm gonna cook tomorrow. I think pork roast for the 4th of July, and for some pulled pork maybe, or I might cook some stuffed burgers. I'm not sure. The stuffed burgers is a lot of work. So it'll probably be a pork roast. I know some of the viewers here aren't fans of pork, but anything that I do with pork, you can basically do with chicken or beef. And I'm a big believer that meat is good. We evolved a 500,000 years eating meat. We should probably have a healthy amount in our diet. Now, you got to remember when we were all hunters and gatherers and stuff like that, we didn't have refrigerators, so you could have a ton of meat. So meat is one of those, uh, how do you call it, small additions to the meal, not the meal. It should be mostly vegetables and stuff like that. So, you know, uh, yeah, anything I do with any meat, you can do with any meat. It just so this is how foodie feels when there's nobody in chat and nothing to talk about. Well, that's all right. I've ranted some of what I needed to. I really hate these people, and I hate to hate anybody. I worked a long time on being a good me. I used to be a real evil person. All right, I got bad anxiety and bad depression. One of the ways I defended myself was I was evil. All right, their PTSD and well earned. All right, I could trauma drop you. I could make trauma drop cry. All right, Arden has seen some shit, including 18 months of federal prison. So yay, bonus on that one for something that is no longer a crime. Double bonus. I know how the prohibition people felt. Yeah. So I'm gonna go work on my kitchen some. I don't feel like setting up a tripod or anything and trying to converse with chat while I'm doing dishes. And I got a couple other things to do outside and stuff. If it cools down, air out my house because I just found pieces of crab lay it in my kitchen. I wondered why it smelled like dead fish in there. Thought somebody had had a feminine hygiene problem, but apparently they just nasty. Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me end this. Listen, I know I don't have a bunch of viewers here. I don't have a bunch of subscribers. I really don't care. I want to thank Falafel for giving a shout out last night during the skank session. I appreciate I appreciate the effort, Falafel. Like I said, this is just I'm a rant. I don't know if this is going to stay up or not. It might. I doubt I'll do this again here. I'm a serious YouTuber. However, I'm not too serious of a YouTuber because I can't edit. I hate my voice, and there's a lot of Masters of Accounting could be a very good channel, but it needs like animations and stuff like that. And I don't even know how to do any of that. The first one is going to be just basically me going over a sheet. Some of the other ones are what would be papers. What are you doing, Kitty? That would be papers. I would have written and stuff. Oh, and Frisbee wants to get up and go explore what they got behind the couch here. That's another thing. They were. This is girl work here. This is total girl work. You see, I don't know what the hell this is. Bunch of clothes and shit like that. But right there is the only heater in this room. The only heater in this room. And they had it blocked over with clothes and stuff. And there were so many clothes stacked behind that. And I got to take it on myself for putting up with this as long as I did. But, I wanted to give them a chance. And every time I told them to fix it, they didn't fix it. Again, girls will be girls. The originally I was going to have them react to the girls and lose weight. There goes Frisbee off to see something. And lose weight, and that way they could show the girls, oh look, it's not that hard to give up all of this, that, and the other. Oh, they couldn't give up all of that, this, that, and the other, and they were as much girls as Foodie, Quirky, and Amber. You know, how you going to sit there and say, "Oh, I don't know how this happened"? Well, like the burn marks. I don't know how it happened. Well, there's three people in this house, all right, that smoke. The other one is 10 years old. I don't think she's smoking. So there's three people in the house that smoke. I know I wasn't dropping the cigarettes on the floor, setting them on the thing. Okay, when I find a new burn mark, it's their fault, especially if it's their brand of cigarettes. That's the smoking gun. But no, I'm unreasonable. I'm the terrible guy. I'm the this, that, and the third. All the conspiracy theories about how I kept her from going to court, and it's an illegal eviction and this and that and the other. Oh, the other day as they're moving out, the one comes at me and was like, "Oh, well, certified mail came. We got to talk. The certified mail came back here, and it got returned. And I said, well, certified mail needs a signature. Oh no, it got delivered here and then it got returned. No, 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 it didn't. It didn't. I know the certified mail they're talking about. It's the court hearing papers. And the court hearing papers that come by certified mail are the same ones that come by regular mail, which they didn't want. And they didn't want those so much that they started an argument, got the police called on them the day they got those papers because they thought it was all a game. They thought somehow I faked the court papers and sent them to them. I mean, you know, they're dumb, and I'm kind of smart, but I wish I was as smart and as motivated as they are. Why would I go through all the trouble of faking court papers when they're let's see, nope, that's volume. I don't know how to zoom in. Why would I go through the trouble of faking court papers when I had them sign a rental agreement that said they'd pay me $412 a month? That's the part that annoys me the most. It was $412 a month. Wouldn't you like the run of most of this house for $400 a month, including the utilities, including the cable? You know, and they couldn't even pay that, and they couldn't even pay what they paid on time because they haven't lived here the full 6 or 7 whatever months for free, but they have lived here for quite a bit of. I think there's 5 months. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, almost $2,000, almost 5 months full of rent, full rent. That's ridiculous. And they thought they were going to squat here for free. You know, and I didn't want more trouble than there already was because again, I'm not a terrible person. Ohio, which oops, I just doxed myself. Not the first time, not going to be the last time. Arden is a 35-year-old internet name. If you want to find me, you're gonna find me. Okay, so I'm not the only Arden, but I think I'm the oldest Arden. So anyway, Ohio is a one-party consent state. This right here, this living room, this is what is considered a common area. So is that kitchen. So is the hallway, bathrooms, your bedrooms. Those aren't common areas. Those you have an expectation of privacy in my living room, in the house I live in, I can record whatever the fuck I want. Okay, so I told them if they kept up their behavior, I was gonna scream them doing stuff. And I really didn't feel like that. Trust me, Arden screaming at them is a sight to behold. I have a very loud voice when I want to, very loud. And they annoyed me quite a bit. That's why I would get loud with them, because hey, you want to get loud with me, I'm gonna get loud back. I can get louder than you can. And they left me with nothing. You see my refrigerator, all right? They kind of cleaned me out. What's in there mostly has to go. Now, I'm not going to starve tonight, but I'm not here e-grifted. I should be e-grifted, all right? I really should, because I'm down some $2,800, $2,900 before the repairs I have to make because of these bin loads. I could e-grift. I'm poor. I'm poor. I got no cigarettes. I got no weed, but I do got weed. My buddy across the street hooked me up. That's one of the reasons I live where I live because I know the landlady good. I know my neighbors across the street real good, and I know my direct next door neighbors real good, which is why I was 5 minutes late today because I was out there chatting with them about plants. And they were telling me some things that I hadn't heard about what the crazies were doing. So, it was informative, um, as well as, being good neighbors. I usually don't care about the neighbors, but hey, if you hold common interest with me, then I'll chit chat with you, I let them have one of my raspberry plants. I'll give them some catnip another time, because they like gardening and they have a big backyard they could use. I don't. I have one little sliver that gets about 3 hours of sun a day, and the porch, So yeah, I've been having a little bit of an issue. All of my old gardening stuff is from when I had an east to west facing driveway. Here I'm north to south, so the way the sun hits every day is a lot different. So my gardening, unfortunately, is going to be a little bit inept until I get a bigger spot. But the Banshee stuff does pretty well on the short reels. So I think full videos about the Banshis, the bonsai chili peppers will do pretty good. And I'm down to two. All right, yes, a whole two viewers. And one of which is me, so that makes the other one falafel. Anyway, anybody that's tuned in, I've appreciated it. Look, he's the Rebel Alliance is beating the Imperial Tie Fighter up. Good kitty, get your toy. Good frisbee. Now frisbee won't fetch stuff to me. I can throw it to him. He'll chase it across the room, but he won't bring it to me. He'll just sit there and play with it till he's bored. Good boy. And then he'll make me come and get it and throw it to him. Good frisbee. Get that. Get it. Get that tie fighter. He's called Frisbee. He's getting a little bit old. He's up there in years. But when we first got him, he was a young kitten, like 2 years old, and they called him Frisbee because when you walked past him, he'd let you walk past, and then he'd sit there and he'd shake his butt, and he'd jump up in the air behind you like a little frisbee. So he doesn't do that anymore. What are you doing? Are you exploring? Frisbee? He's mad at me because I don't have snackies for him. But, I'll get some. Actually, I'll tell my little brother and have him bring some because Frisbee is really my mom's cat, all right, who loved my little niece because my niece was like 2 years old when we first got him. So she was little like him. And I taught him not to mess with my niece. Um, am I knocked off? I got an incoming call until that ends. Okay, I think my microphone's back. Anyway, when my mom, I trained him not to attack my niece by associating her with snacks. I taught her when she was real young to feed him snacks out of her hand, and he was so gentle he would eat the snacks right out of her hand. So cute. That is his human. He don't care about me as long as I got him food and stuff like that. He'll love up against me some, but my niece is his little. That's his person. She can do anything to him. I can't get away with anything. So I'll make her dad bring him some snackies. Oh, I said the magic word. Up is run, frisbee. And no, I'll probably never be on camera, because I look much like a troll. So why would I want to go on camera so somebody can make fun of my looks like I do falafels? I'm sorry, falafel. I'm just joking with that stuff, right? I mean, because if I wasn't, I'd be much meaner. Oh God, I just can't resist. So something about me is still a 16-year-old boy inside where I can't help but pick on other girls and stuff because I'm a goof. But Been a lot of years, a lot of years. You know, wife dying at 38. It changes you. It kind of broke me. That was the final straw. But here I am back together again, and you know, I wouldn't say fixed. I'm in a much better place. I'm happy with my life as far as I've gotten my degree, so I could drop over tomorrow. You know, life goals accomplished. You know, I never had kids, but you know, by the time her and I got together, she didn't want any more. You know, issues, and you know, it turned out to be a good thing because I wouldn't have been able to deal when she passed. So yeah, I guess it worked out for the best. Anyway, I've overshared. You know, y'all know too much about me. I'm gonna go get me a little bit of smoke on. Calm down, because my heart rate has been over 100 all day since I found that missing vintage collector's piece. Yeah, my stress level's been there through the roof, and my heart level. Didn't expect this to be real interesting. I'm not doing nothing but ranting about the Gorls who took advantage of me because, and keep that in mind, Gorls. They are just like Amber. They are just like Quirky. They are just like Foodie fucking Beauty. Those people are not unique. That's one of the reasons that I watch them. These two got so mad that one of the mother got so mad because I would watch the reactors. Like I said, I wanted them to become reactors. They couldn't figure out why I was watching the fatties. Well, because, you know, I know people like the fatties. Look at this one. He's up in the curtain here. Get off of the curtain, please. Uh-oh, I got to save the kitty. Ah, there we go. Oh, he was stuck. He's so mad he was stuck. Here you go. Frisbee lived for 2 years at the Animal Protective League before we picked him up and rescued him after my mom's cat passed away. I don't know if you can see, but he's got a little bump on his nose, and I think people passed him up because he's just the sweetest kitty. I think they passed him up because they thought he was going to have problems. He does snore real loud, you know, but it hasn't grown any, so it's not a tumor or anything. It's a birth defect. Poor kitty, when we went and picked him up, he ran and jumped in my mom's lap. And he was the last one we had looked at online that was still left there on the adoption day. So he's loved. He don't got his snacks, but brother will bring him over, and he's got food and everything else. You know, like I said, I got food. He's got food. I'm almost out of iced tea. That annoys me because you know, and I'm totally out of coffee, which I'll get more tomorrow. Can't do that till the store opens because I refuse to spend extra money. So you know, yeah, it's not a fun time that I keep promising to leave. So I'm probably gonna go. There's only two people here, and like I said, I know one of them. I think one of them is me that's logged in on the chat thing there. I can't see who the chat participants are here. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I'm not a streamer, especially not a mobile streamer. You know, the one thing I will do is the videos. I might stream on Masters of Accounting because there's a few things that might be better done in a stream, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see. So up at the top of my about page is the links to my other two channels that I am going to actively pursue. This is just a channel that connects all the other ones that I have or have planned, and this is for mostly my gameplay and stuff. Because when I'm an old man, 85 years old, I want to look back through my Star Trek playthroughs. The Star Trek Online is one of the best Star Trek games out there, one of the best video games. I sometimes stream GTA and stuff like that. I haven't done any real streaming since I went back to school, but maybe I'll get back to it once I secure myself a position. But you see, Frisbee's passed out already, and I'm gonna go relax, see if my meat's thawed out. If it's not, then bring it out quicker and wash some pots and pans so I can cook myself dinner. I don't know what, but whatever, and then maybe cook on Arden Cooks tomorrow. That might actually be a live stream that I would edit down to a cooking video. Again, can't edit. Don't know how to use none of this stuff. Look, I'm an accountant, damn it, not a streamer. You want me to debit your credits and credit your debits? I could do that, but I could even teach you how to do it. But as for the whole creative thing, yeah, not too creative. More analytical. So that's it. Thank everybody for joining me. Falafel, thank you for being a cheerleader and stuff. I know you're at work. I could have scheduled this for later, I guess, but I actually wanted to go live last night after they were gone, leaving my doors open and stuff. But I had this one scheduled for this time, and here it is. So first ever live stream. What I would like for anybody to do is drop in the comments and let me know how terrible my voice is, how terrible the audio sounds, and I'd appreciate it if everybody does that for all of my upcoming videos. Eventually, maybe somebody will share with me their different audio setup and video setup, so I can have a good video stuff because all my gardening videos suck. And my camcorder is crap. But until you see me on Arden's Gardens, Arden Cooks, or Masters of Accounting, y'all have a good day. Thank the few that showed up for showing up. Thank anybody else who watches this in the replay for as long as I keep it up. I may keep it up forever. I didn't say everything I wanted to say, but once I got some weed, I kind of calmed down. So I did show enough. I broke an oven door. The oven is 6 years old. I have to take that apart and replace it, and it's going to cost at least $100 just for the parts. I don't want to fix it. I would rather have somebody else to fix it, but there's going to be another hundred or something. And if they bring the parts, they're going to upcharge me on the parts. So, there's that. Okay, you guys have a good day. I'm gonna have a good day. Hopefully, Falafel will stream later so I can be a pest in her chat because she hasn't been here at work. Everybody else, I think. Thanks for stopping by, and I'm out of here. By the way, can you tell? Yeah, I'm sure everybody can tell. All right, y'all have a good Friday. You have a good weekend, and hopefully, I'll get some other content up soon. But thank you to everybody that stopped by. We'll say bye to Frisbee. Frisbee, bye. Oh, see, there he is doing stuff. No, that's not yours to be laying on. That's you got to get away from there. That's theirs. Bad kitty. All right, we'll see.